Let's talk with Billy in Texas. Billy, welcome to the show. How can we help you today?
Hey, I just wanted to answer your question, what I believe and why.
Perfect.
I believe that, or I support the existence of a higher power, something intelligent being responsible for life and the existence of reality. And the reason I believe that is because of hallmarks of design in nature and in life. So yeah, that's basically like the genome and fine-tuning, stuff like that. We recognize hallmarks of design in those things, and of course design requires intelligence, so that would be the reason why.
Well, okay, so I guess we can start, because that was sort of a really rushed gish gallop of different bad apologetics there. Let's start with the whole design requires a designer thing. Could you define for me how you would determine between a designed object and an undesigned object?
Well, an undesigned object would be something that's configured according to the natural arrangement of interacting force characteristics in the standard model. Intelligent things, they tend to construct things differently than just the natural chance, forces, the fundamental force characteristics of the universe. I mean,
okay.
Intelligent things, they put things together differently.
Okay. Aren't you saying that the natural universe is designed, though?
I'm sorry?
You were saying that the natural universe is designed, though, correct?
Well, the cosmological constants and fundamental force characteristics are the configuration of those components of reality have the hallmarks of design. So, yeah.
Well, so can you name one?
Go ahead, John.
So, sorry, can you name one example of something that is natural that you think is definitely designed?
The genome. Well, wait, no, the genome's not natural. I mean, we can't prove that it's natural. Or the sequence hypothesis, we can't prove that it's natural. Of course, it's made out of natural components, but the sequence hypothesis.
Well, no. Hold on. Hold on. I got to stop you right there, because, I mean, we have natural processes to explain every single facet of DNA, of the genome. We have natural explanations for all of these things about how they naturally occur and how they could have naturally formed through abiogenesis. Well, abiogenesis would have been the first life, not necessarily the first, DNA piece of DNA. But I mean, you get what I'm saying. We have natural processes that explain how all of this is done without supernatural intervention. So what about it exactly indicates to you that a supernatural being is needed in order to create it?
Well, what you said was absolutely, completely incorrect and totally erroneous. We do not have even close to we haven't even scratched the surface of any type of natural explanation for how the genetic code sequence could have come to exist. I mean, we're not even anywhere close. I mean, for you to say that we've got some explanation, that we have the explanations about how nature could do that, is so far beyond what's actually true that I don't even know.
So, Billy, I think unless we get away from this line of reasoning, it's just going to be us taking turns saying, well, you're telling us false things and you're telling me false things. And that's not helpful for anybody, AKA, just by the way, like, you are telling us false things right now. But I believe that you believe it, right? I think that you believe this. My concern is that you are admitting that we have barely scratched the surface in your worldview of this thing, but you're willing to make a claim about it, like something that big that we don't even know if it's natural when we've barely scratched the surface. That's not very scientific of you.
So let me ask this. Is God necessary for individual cell division now? Like, every time a cell divides, like right now I've got 3 trillion cells dividing on my body right now. is God necessary for each one of those cell divisions?
No. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, the genome can handle all that.
I rest my case. Because I mean, if God isn't needed for that, then God isn't needed for the development of DNA. Because when a cell divides, the DNA copies itself. This is a natural process in which these things happen. And if God isn't needed for those very basic processes, then I don't see the need for God in developing DNA. Like because it's all just chemistry. And unless you're going to say that God is necessary for the laws of chemistry, then I mean, you're just being a presuppositional apologist at that point, and there's really no point in continuing to have a conversation.
Maybe God's only good at certain kinds of chemistry, like me in high school.
Did you say that that's a very big? You said that that's a very basic process. That's not even close to a basic process. Like you're confusing the develop or the arrival of the genetic code with the division or with the propagation of the genetic code. You see, there's a difference between it appearing, it coming into existence, and it actually working. So,
Billy, where are you hearing this? Where are you getting your info from? Can you give us some sources, man?
Carm.
Yeah, sure. Like this is pretty straightforward stuff. Like if you think that we have an explanation for abiogenesis, then you're completely freaking wrong. I'm sorry to jump on you like that, but
okay, nobody mentioned abiogenesis.
Yeah.
So wait,
that's what I mentioned. I mentioned that.
Okay, okay, so no one has an answer for abiogenesis yet. You have an answer for abiogenesis?
But our friend here just said that scientists have complete explanations of how nature could have created a genome.
How the genome develops. We have a pretty good idea of how that happens.
No, we don't.
Right, and we have.
Okay,
we have
where are you getting this information from, Billy? Give us sources, or we're hanging up on you.
I don't. Look, I don't have to prove that that.
Yes, you do. That's the point of the show.
No. I don't have to prove a negative. Okay, he said that scientists can demonstrate natural.
And you said they can't. That's a positive claim. You said that they cannot. So give us a source, or we're hanging up.
Okay. Well, they haven't. How about that? They haven't.
Where are you learning that they haven't? Where did you hear this? Is it just because you haven't heard anything? They're not going to call you up and tell you, Billy, we still haven't found out anything about the genome.
So then show me that they have, because that was his claim. Matter of fact, I can talk directly to him. John, that was your claim. You claimed that nature, that scientists have explanations about how the genome came to exist, and I would like to know how you've come to that.
So technically, what I said was that we have natural processes to explain the genome, like as in how the genome works, and all the various processes that go into the genome. Now, when I talked about how the genome formed, we don't know exactly how that process happened, but we do know that it happened, and we have a lot of great information that surrounds like that entire process. So while we cannot fully describe the process, we do have individual pieces of it, and it's just like drawing one of those not fill in the dots, but connect the dots kind of things. We can connect the dots. This is really simple stuff. Okay. So the point of fact is that all of this is chemistry, right? It's based on the laws of physics and chemistry. Because of that fact, you cannot say that a God is necessary for these things to have happened.
Yes. Well, I can say that intelligence is required for it, because when they make simulated models of the
evidence,
it doesn't. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Avida? Have you ever heard of Mendel's Accountant or EVWare or any of these other simulations that demonstrate that nature is not capable of sequencing a genome? These are actual scientific experiments.
Never heard of that happening.
Have you heard of the Human Genome Project?
Yes, of course I have.
Okay, Francis Collins, a Christian who also acknowledges that there is science behind the mapping of the human genome.
Well, of course, they mapped the human genome. Big deal.
How do you think they did that?
By examining the genome.
Okay.
The
Really?
already existing sequence hypothesis.
Billy, I asked you for sources. Are you going to give me sources, or am I going to hang up on you?
Sources for something that I didn't find? How can I give you a source for something I didn't find?
No. What's your source for saying that, like, for instance, God is needed for DNA to form?
I mean, I never said that. I said intelligence is required for design requires intelligence. That was my
intelligence. God, an alien life form that has 3 heads. What is your evidence to suggest that an intelligence is needed to design the DNA?
Because simulated models have demonstrated that nature is not capable of sequencing a genome.
Okay, where are those sources? Give me sources.
You listed off programs, but no sources for that information.
Avida, I told you, it's Avida, A-V-I-D-A, that's Avida. There's Mendel's Accountant. There's EVware.
You just told us to Google it.
There's several. I mean, what do you want me to do? Like I can't, do you want me to read out the URL to you? I can read out the URL if you want. It's about 45.
Okay.
No, I mean, typically when you cite sources, you want to cite authors of the paper. You can you cite who they were writing for, like some kind of university or other educational institution. Page numbers often, because normally when these types of things are actually released, they're put into journals, they're published in at various places. I mean, normally when we ask for citations, we're looking for author, name of paper. Hell, you could even read off the ISBN number for like a book, or the DOI number for whatever paper you're talking about, and we would be able to go and find it. But all you're telling us to do is just Google it, dude. I've given you the program names. Okay, well, that doesn't exactly show us how they came to the conclusions that they came to. Also, I've yet to hear about a scientific finding of how these programs have shown that it's impossible for nature to produce the DNA. Just that there's a very high unlikelihood that it would happen, but we can be 100% sure that it did happen, because guess what? We're having this pointless conversation right now.
So you'll just assume that that's what happened? You're just going to make that assumption?
Oh my goodness, Billy. My assumption was that if you call in to give us an argument, you're going to come with some backup, as opposed to just saying, no, I touched my nose first, therefore I don't need to provide sources. I encourage you to continue to look for intelligence. We will also continue to do so. Unfortunately, there is none on this call, so bye. Okay. Look, I'm going to look up Avida. I'm going to look it up. Mendel's Accountant, whatever that is. Sure. Like, I asked for something. He threw something at me. I'll go look it up. I'll report back, you guys. But
apparently, there's somebody in the chat, CRISPR CAS9. He's got some pretty great videos on anti-creationism out there, and he's saying that Mendel's Accountant is a creationist program where they've just coded a bunch of junk in, which doesn't surprise me if that is indeed the case for that program, because there's a lot of creationist scientists out there that do the creationist research that put together all of these like harebrained ideas and then jump to the conclusion that God had to do it or something like that. So I appreciate CRISPR being in the chat there, letting us know about that. But it really, that's par for the course for a creationist caller.
Yeah, guys, if you know more about these things or want to point us in better directions here, like, certainly I'm not going to pretend I've heard everything. So I'm looking for more information. If y'all want to help Billy out, maybe link some sources in the chat. I'm sure you're all in Billy's corner, but just want to make sure that this is all good. All right, we are going to take a pause and thank the patrons. And then we're going to jump back into calls, but I do want to make sure we shout out some awesome people. I am refreshing the page right now, so if you did donate in the last hour or so, you will be popping up here. All right. We have got Eric Tweet, CJ Dennis, Dingleberry Humperdinck. You changed your name? Oh my goodness. All right. Well, Dingleberry Humperdinck it is. That is admittedly more fun to say than Dingleberry Jackson. But not quite the same warmth. You know, there's a little bit of grit there. All right. Desert Heathen, Bethany P, and an honorary mention, Marry Me V is still there. All right. Well, I'm a sucker for persistence. So who knows? Who knows? Thank you, everybody, for being on our Patreon. I saw a couple people in the chat asking how to donate monthly to Talk Heathen. If you want to do that, especially if you want to help us continue to get awesome guests on this show, keep the lights on, keep us doing what we're doing, go to patreon.com/talkheathen and you can cap that pledge. So you can pledge per episode, you can pledge once a month, you can pledge up to a certain amount and not over. So if you're interested in helping us out, that is an amazing way to do that. And thank you, everybody who has been donating so far.